Welcome back. Hill has a really good section in here on your career development. We started it in the last module, and I want to pick up where we left off with that one, where we were talking about leadership. Now he's got a very specific piece in here on how to get the job you really want. And this was a really big deal at the time. When he wrote this back in the 30s, we were in the midst of the Great Depression of the 1930s. And so his readers were really concerned about employment. Unemployment was like 25%. And so this is a big deal. So first thing, and most people actually skip this first step. They're in jobs that they don't like, and they never really, this goes back to what I talked about earlier about being willing to change. First, you got to decide, what do you want to do? Most college students don't even do this. I ask students all the time as they're seniors approaching graduation, well, what do you want to do? And here they, after 4 years of college, they still don't know, or they're kind of open to it. And they tend to take the first thing that's offered to them. And so step one, sit down. If you don't like your job, what would you like to do? If in a perfect world, what do you want? That's a starting point. So write it down. And now, remember, you've got tools now. You know how to do things. Plan, do, check, adjust. So first is, figure out something you'd really have desire. You would want to do it. Now, two, pick a company in that field. Who would you like to work for? Do a little research the employers, find out everything there is to know about them. And then number four is not about them hiring you. You're thinking about why that's good for you. Well, what do you have to offer for them? What benefits can you offer them? What skills? Remember, we told you, you now should have some specialized knowledge. If this is a change for you, and you're currently an accountant and I don't like sitting around as an accountant, not talking to people. Maybe you're more of a people person and somehow or other you ended up as an accountant. Well, it doesn't mean you have to stay there. Let's say you want to get into sales. Okay, develop some sales, get that 10 best books on sales and start studying while you're still an accountant. Put it all together. And then now you've got some benefits you can offer. You have skills you can offer. You're maybe, think in terms of this company that you want to work for. What is their focus? Somewhere on their website, it talks about what they're offering customers. How does your background and your skill set put that together? How does that come together so that you can contribute to their objectives? How can you make them more money? If you want them to pay you $75,000 a year, how are you going to make them $75,000 a year or more? Because they're not in the business of giving you a job. Again, a lot of people in today's world think they have a right to a job and stuff, and that you just don't. If you can't show them why it is beneficial for them to pay you, why should they pay you? That's not what capitalism, again, is all about. You have no right to a job. You just don't in this country in terms of capitalism. Okay, now once you've done all those four things, now you put together a great resume, which he doesn't really go into in the book directly, but I've got material on that. And at some stage, if you dig around on my website and follow me for any length of time, you'll see some material on how to put a great cover letter and resume together. Then how to do a good interview. This is people skills again. Eye contact, good handshake, although nowadays, with the coronavirus and all that sort of thing, handshakes are probably out the window. But you can still make good eye contact. It's not going to be covered by your mask. So that's how you get the job. If you put that together, you'll discover you'll start getting job offers, and now you'll be working in something you want to do. And that's really important if you want to be successful. Now, once you have this perfect job and you are in the career of your choice, not one you got stuck into or drifted into, you are doing something you want to do now. Now we want you to move to the top of the food chain. Well, Hill talks about being efficient in every detail. Do your job. Get it done early, and don't waste time. So be efficient in every detail. Come in early, stay late, do the maximum quantity of work you can do in your time frame. This means you're not fooling around, you're not cruising around on Facebook, you're working when you're at work. Big theme I've always had in my office environment. I actually tell my students right up front, if you come to my office and expect the door will be closed, that means I am in there. It doesn't mean I'm not there, and doesn't necessarily mean I want to avoid talking to you. It just means I am working, and you're part of my work, so you can knock on the door and I'll let you in. But I'm in there working with I have what's called a closed door policy. Now, a lot of people don't like that. Ooh, it's trendy to have an open door policy. And that's all nice, except for one thing. When people walk by, they make eye contact and they feel they're obligated to ask you about, did you see who won American Idol last night? Did you see who won the football game? And I'm interested in all that stuff too, sort of. However, I'm at work. I'm working when I'm at work. And when I'm not at work, I'll be happy to talk to you about all that stuff. But when I'm at work, I'm working. And I can crank out an enormous volume of work compared to other people, because when I'm working, I'm working. I am not there for social. I'm just not. Now, it doesn't mean you aren't pleasant to be around. You can be agreeable and still get your work done. That's kind of the sweet spot you're trying to find. It's really, on some level, the keys to any business or personal success. Do the three things we just talked about, and people are going to start noticing you. And in a capitalistic America, and here's where he goes a little bit on a rant about capitalism, but it ensures, the short version is, capitalism ensures that every person has the opportunity to render useful service. So key parts of this are, again, they don't have a right to do it. They have the opportunity to do it and to succeed. And then it's not that they have the right to a job. They have an opportunity to offer service. So it's not about you having a job. This is what you can do for other people. And then you're going to collect riches, that's the term he uses, even if it's $12 an hour. You're going to collect riches for not because you deserve them or have a right to them, but because you provided a useful service to other people. And they are going to pay you, these are the riches, and they're going to pay you in direct proportion to the value of the service. So if you're making $12 an hour, it's only because you're not providing that much service. If you're making $200 an hour, the world or marketplace has decided they think your service is very valuable. If you're making $1,000 an hour, it's not that you're an evil rich person. It's that you are providing a service that the rest of the world views as really valuable. That's what capitalism really is. Now, again, in today's world, may not be all that popular, but that is what Napoleon Hill and capitalists throughout the centuries, the last few centuries, have. That is how it works. And it really says it all about how the world works. And if you understand that, you are going to be able to, those are kind of the rules. And if you know the rules, you can win the game. If you don't play by the rules, you're not going to win the game. And having your career flourish is winning the game. And he'll tell you how to do it here. Quit fighting it and start doing it. Zig Ziglar, very famous self-help. Actually, his real niche is in the world of sales. But I use this quote in almost all my classes. You can have everything you want if you help enough other people get what they want. Again, that's worth reading again. You can have everything you want if you help other people get what they want. And that is so important. If you get this, you will never feel rich people are bad or successful people are bad. They deserve it. And the way that you get everything you want, all those dreams and goals, is figure out how you can help other people get what they want. That is just the key to the kingdom there. It's so important. Now, here's why most people fail. Oddly enough, some people just aren't smart enough. Now, not politically correct to say that, but just the way the world is. I'll bet you know some people like this. But that's not most people. That's not why most people fail. Most people are more than intelligent enough to be successful. But they lack these other things. They have no purpose in life. They're kind of living for the weekend, and their purpose is just to watch TV on the weekend. They don't have ambition. They're not trying to move to the top of the food chain. Guess what? They're not going to. Some people lack the education to move on some level. And again, being a professor, I'm kind of biased with this, and based on what happened in my life and my career, the thing that made me different from all the other relatives and whatnot that I have, and with my background, we didn't have anybody who ever went to college, or we didn't know anybody who was rich and successful. It was just, the difference for me was I went to school. And then not only did I go to school, but I followed it up with all the continuing ed and all that other stuff we talked about earlier. I wanted to know more stuff. And I got that through education, both formal and informal. Successful people have discipline. They do what they say they're going to do. They get up I'm going to get up at 6. They don't get up at 7. They don't hit the snooze 15 times. People fail. Some of this they can't help, if you're poor health. And some of that, there is a little bit of act of God can influence that. However, you can do things to improve your health. You can exercise, eat right, get enough sleep, and all that normal stuff. A lot of people fail because of their environment, both external and internal. What they're reading, what they're watching on TV is all part of the environment. They procrastinate. Again, this goes back to lack of self-discipline. They try stuff and they fail and they quit. They lack persistence. Some people are just unpleasant to be around, and you know this when you see it. You don't want to hang out with them. Well, they're not going to do well in their career. They're just not. People expecting something for nothing. This idea that I'm entitled to something because I'm alive and I'm a human and I live in the country. That's not a recipe for being successful. They can't make decisions. They waffle back and forth. They are wishy-washy. What do you want to do? I don't know. That's not. Be decisive. Even if you're wrong, you're better off making the decision to do it. Try stuff. They can deal with fear. Unsuccessful people, again, avoid situations they're afraid of. A lot of this, again, a lot of repetition in the course. That's by design. It's not that I forgot. I mentioned that before. That's how you learn. That's how you learn. Repetition is the mother of skill is a very famous quote that I first heard from Tony Robbins, and it's really good. They make a poor choice of friends. They hang out with people who are not likely to help them achieve their goals. Sometimes that's even your spouse. Sorry to say. Some people are a failure because they have a negative spouse. Um, if you want to change, I hate to tell you, you probably have to. Some people are going to have to go get a divorce. It's not, again, a good situation, but it just sort of is what it is. And and a lot of people are simply afraid to fail. And because they're afraid to fail, they're afraid to try anything. And that's going to be a perpetuating cycle of failure. If you believe in luck, you're probably destined for failure. You make your own luck. Uh, if you're prejudiced against other races, other people who are not like you, it's going to be hard for you to be successful because there are lots of different kinds of people out there, and you need to get along with everybody and treat them with respect, and then they will treat you accordingly or well accordingly. They made the wrong career choice. We talked about this earlier. They bounce around. They don't focus. They're not goal oriented. They doing one thing and then they got the shiny object syndrome. They see something else and try that. They're bouncing around, looking for get rich quick stuff. Tend not to work. They can't handle money. They get it. They burn through it. They don't save money. They don't. They just don't know what to do. And schools don't really teach how to handle money. If this is, you sense a little of this in yourself, or you've always had money problems, you might want to pick up my other program called The Richest Man in Babylon. If you master the material in there, you'll be really good at handling money. Being enthusiastic. A lot of people are going through life in a monotone environment. They just aren't excited about anything. And if you can't engender enthusiasm, you are in the wrong field. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but I'm enthusiastic. I love this stuff. In my teacher evaluations for 30 plus years. Now, everybody doesn't like me as a teacher. You're never going to make everybody happy. But I don't think I have ever had a single student ever say, well, gee, professor wasn't very enthusiastic. The professor was bored. No. When I go into a class or when I come and do these little presentations that we're recording here, I'm enthusiastic. I am excited to be here. Now, I might have been sick as a dog 10 minutes ago. Or when I went to the class, I had a cold or didn't feel well. But the minute I get in front of the crowd, I am on. I am going to be so enthusiastic that you forget about everything else. It's one of the best things in the world. When I am sick, I want to go to work, even though nowadays we're told not to do that. I really want to. Because I can forget about my problems. If I have a sore back, when I'm teaching, I don't have a sore back. When I'm recording, I don't have a sore back. I don't have a headache. Whatever the problem was, it's gone because I'm so focused on how can I get this information into the hands of the students. And you want to find a job or an activity where you feel that way. That will help you so much to be successful. I'm not going to go through too much. Intolerance is, to me, pretty much like the prejudice. Intemperance is, again, drinking too much. Again, do things in moderation is sort of what he's saying here. Can't get along with people. That's, again, lack of people skills. Looking for the quick success as opposed to accepting the fact it's going to take work. Will tend to lead to failure. Again, obviously being dishonest is going to catch up with you. Being an egotist, even though we said everybody has an ego, that's human nature. Being egotistic is not human nature. That's a negative. It's kind of like my confidence, arrogance example. Ego is great. Egotistic is not great. And you got to find the line. You got, you'll kind of, someday, you'll make mistakes, you'll go over it, but then you'll just back it off and you'll get better. So we don't want you to be vain and egotistic, but we do want you to have a good, healthy self-esteem and self-worth. Not thinking accurately is sort of just, you're in fairyland. The world is what it is, and you got to deal with it. Again, I'll give a Tony Robbins example I've always loved. It's the positive thinking thing. People think just because you're supposed to be positive that you ignore negative. You're like, again, imagining things. That's not what we're talking about here. If you're doing your garden, there are weeds in the garden. And we're not telling you to ignore the weeds. That's not what any of this. Thinking accurately is looking at the garden and seeing there are weeds. There are problems. There are issues going on. And there are all the time. And you got to deal with those. But the idea of being an optimist or positive is that you can. Let me pull the weeds. Let me put some weed killer on. I'm going to fix the problem. That's what we're talking about. But you got to know what the problems are. Putting a blindfold on and ignoring that there are issues or weeds isn't the way to fame and fortune. And people who lack money or think that they're inherently put upon because they don't have money, and because they don't have money they can't be successful, that's kind of backwards. You get the money by offering services. If you are a successful in all these other things, I guarantee you're going to have money. Because people who have money don't have it because they were lucky again. They have it because they have all those other characteristics. They are the type person who just naturally money flows to them. If you do the things in this course, people will be throwing money at you. Money will never be a problem for you ever again. So some final action steps here. Take a 3x5 card, write a quitter never wins, a winner never quits. Read it daily, twice a day. If you did it on your phone, this would be an example of an affirmation, and this should be one of your affirmations. Every day, a quitter never wins, a winner never quits. You want to get that ingrained in your personality. You want to go over that advanced and the positive success versus failure list, the leadership versus failure list. Go through that and be honest with yourself. All of us have some of those things as weaknesses. You can work on it. You can fix it. That's what we're asking you to do. Identify where your weaknesses are, develop a plan to fix it. And then the way you go about fixing it, you got to develop some skills. If you found a weakness, find some books on the topic. If your relationship with your spouse is a problem, there are books on it. Find relationship type books. If it is a sales, if you're weak in your communication skills, get sales books and read them and study them. So honestly, know yourself type self-evaluation. The more honestly you can deal with that, the more you can fix it. Business success, very similar. All business is organized capital. That's why we call it capitalist system. And we got to organize ideas, money, and people, put it all together. That's what a plan is. That's what a business plan actually is you have your idea, you find the money, and you find the people, put it all together in some organized fashion. Learn the rules of business. That's what we teach in business school. And understand the Zig Ziglar idea, you can't get without giving. That's true as a person. That's true as a business. Your business will be supported to the extent that you help other people. Provide service. That's what it's all about. The most successful businesses provide the most services. There is a reason Amazon is so enormously successful, and Jeff Bezos, the founder, is filthy rich. Now, whether you like him or not is irrelevant. He deserves every dime. That's why I'm not a big fan of the billionaire tax. I love billionaires, because billionaires, all those people that make obscene amounts of money, think of what they have brought to the world. Think of what Amazon, the idea, I can go buy anything from home, and it comes in a day or two. I don't have to go to a store for 3 months, and I can still live really well, because Amazon started something that is so amazing. And Apple and Google and all those things, think of what they have brought to the world. They deserve every dime of the money they have. See you in the next module.